Hello everyone, my name is Ryan and welcome back to another Warriors Wednesday. And again, we're going over a warrior, all of their abilities, and I'll try to show how I play them, how I build them, just to get a general feeling for the god. We'll go over every single warrior on Warrior Wednesdays, and well, it's also a follow-up on Mage Monday, where we also discuss the mages. The other gods will come, but they'll have to wait until we are finished with either warriors or mages, because I don't want to do more than 2 a week. So I'll just have to continue with those types. We'll start off with the passive. Hercules gains physical power for every percentage of missing health. So if he has less health, he gets additional physical power. It is 30 power at level 1, a maximum of 30 power. So if he has 1% health, he gains 30 additional power. But you also get an additional power for the level you are, so you'll get an additional of maximum damage increase of 50. So you can get a lot of additional physical power, but you don't want to be at 1% health the entire time just for the bonus damage, because you'll die. Because of everything, even if it's a little archer minion. Well, his one which I just used is Driving Strike. It's a line dash, so you'll move in a straight line, dashing through everything, and you'll push them away. Well, you push them in the direction you're going. So that can be gods and that can be minions. You deal damage to them and you will stun all the enemies. It will stun for 1 second or for 1.5 seconds at the maximum rank. His 2 is quite interesting. You can actually pull someone towards you if you hit someone at the back end of it. As you can see here, I used it, but I was just barely off with the back end. If you hit it with the back end of the ability, it will not only do damage, but it will also pull the enemy or the minions towards you. And if you're fast enough with walking around it, where you were standing, because you will pull them like in front of you, if you move while you used your 2, so after you use your 2 you move, while they are in the air you can get behind them and use your 1 to actually push them further away. So you can actually get an enemy over a very large distance. By pulling them and pushing them, you'll get them out of safety and into your team's hands to kill the enemy. This 3 is a heal. It's an activated heal. It will heal once every second for the first 4 seconds. It will heal 15 per second or 55 at maximum rank. And every time you get damaged during those 4 seconds, the initial 4 seconds, a percentage of the damage you are dealt to, so that you receive, will be returned in healing. So that means you're at maximum rank, you'll receive an additional 90% of the damage you receive back as healing over time. But it's healing about, I think it's over 5 seconds, and you'll get a healing tick every half second. So if you are against a Puash, be very careful when you use your 3, because if he uses his 3 on you while you have activated your 3, you will be stunned a long time after the duration of his 3 is over. As you can see here, I'm playing rings around the rosy with the enemies, trying to dodge all their abilities and juking Saul's 2 and getting away, and also baiting Saul into her death perhaps. No, she gets away because she has a nice escape with her 3. Well, let's continue with Hercules' ultimate. Hercules pulls up a giant rock from the ground and throws it at the enemy at the target location. The ball will continue to roll, but however it will bounce off every single wall. So that means a wall from a map. So for instance, the pillars you see here or the walls at the jungle camps, it can bounce off of it. And it can also bounce off on her pillar, Emir wall, Bracken wall, every single wall except for Odin, because you can actually do abilities through Odin's wall now, so it won't bounce off of it. It used to do that and it was pretty powerful because every time it bounces it deals damage to an enemy. So if you're able to use your ultimate on an enemy and then also bounce it off a wall so they get hit again, they will get additional damage. But the second time they get hit, the damage is reduced by 50%. So it's not as OP as it can be, because you can actually do it quite well with some nice walls. Also, while you're casting your ultimate, you're CC immune, so you could use it to prevent getting pulled from an Ares ultimate, or to be when you see a CC coming in, you can prevent it from happening. So that's pretty interesting. As you can see, I'm playing usually quite aggressive. Hercules is very good at initiating because of his 2-1 combo, pulling someone and then pushing them into your team. So you see me try to do that a lot. It's not always as easy as it could be because the 2 isn't instant and you have to aim it a bit where the enemy is going to be. And you also have to hit it at the tip, because if someone walks towards you, they might not be hit by the pulling part of the ability, but only the damaging part. Also, if you get pulled, you also get damaged, so you'll always get damaged if you get hit by it. As you can see, I don't know if you have paid attention to it, but I leveled up my 1 first, because it does just a huge amount of damage and it also increases the stun duration. Then of course your ultimate has a higher priority, especially Hercules' ball is extremely strong because of the amount of scaling it has. I think it gets like 100 additional damage each level, so that's pretty good, especially if it's able to hit multiple times with a good bounce. I usually level up, well, I always level up my 3 as third most important. So I'll always go in the order of ultimate is priority, then my 1, then my 3, because it does a lot of healing at max rank, but not as much in percentage in the early ranks. And well, then I do my 2 because it's the only ability left to level up. If you're really certain you don't get a lot of damage, you might try to level up your 2 before your 3, just because it does a lot more damage. You saw there, I used the combo to pull Xbalanque, but my team was getting ulted by home bots and we weren't able to follow it up. They also got stuck in the pillar, interesting enough, so I continued my way, but he was not. It's also an interesting interaction that might happen. Here you can see a ball rolling towards their enemy's soul and finishing them off. So it's quite a long way it can actually roll, but it's not infinite. It will stop rolling at some point. As you can see here, I could have pulled, but my Scylla was already ulting at that location, so that would have been the death of... well, I would have saved their Scylla, perhaps, because I would have pulled her out of the our Scylla's ultimate, which is something that can be unfortunate if it happens. It might happen, but it's really unfortunate. Let's go over the build. I usually always start with Power Boots, just because he has a lot of power and he gets a lot of advantage from having a lot of power, especially for his 1. Then I usually go for defense item. This really depends on what enemies you're against and how they are playing. I usually like to go for some cooldown. You'll see, if you see other games of me playing Hercules, I like to go for Jotuns usually, But since I already died quite early in the game, I felt like I could use a bit more health and defense. So I went for a Mill of Renewal, which also provides some CDR. So I do have my cooldown reduction a bit. It's only 15%, so it's 10% less than Jotuns would provide, but still pretty strong. I then went for a Hardword. The reason I went for Hardword is because Hercules' mana pool is quite low. So that makes things quite difficult. When he's out of mana, he's pretty much useless. Well, he can still auto attack, but if he can't perform a combo or use his heal or use his ultimate because he has no mana, then you're not really... It's like a mage. You're not really too much of a help for your team. Although Hercules could actually tank quite a lot if he has enough mana for his 3. I now went for Winged Blade, and Winged Blade is a thing that I do like on Hercules because it allows you to do one thing easier, and that's his pull combo. You're a bit faster, so you're able to move up to your opponent a bit faster than they can walk away. So you can actually get close to them, catch up to them, and then get them with your 2 and your 1 combo. I do have to say that if you're a new player, pulling off the 2-1 combo can take some practice, just because you have to get the feeling for it, how it works, the delay on it, and the enemy will probably expect you to try to pull you. At least that's what I always would try. You can see there, Hubat didn't get pulled because he used his beads, which is also a very good thing to have against the Hercules. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to save my teammates, and as you can see, 3 of my teammates are dead. I used my mitigate wounds, that's my 3, to do as much damage as I can, and I am able to go back to the base. And we are able to pick up the 2 enemies that stayed too long, because my team had respawned at that point. And we were able to finish them off. We are a bit behind at this point, about 20-25 points. It's not too much, so not really too much of a problem. We can still get back into this game. But also a nice thing of Winged Blade, which I have gotten, if you're getting slowed, you're actually moving a lot faster. And sometimes people don't expect that. So you're very much in control of pulling them. Because if they don't expect you to be close enough, they won't actually try to juke it, or if they don't expect it, not juke at all. So that's always an interesting item to get. It also provides a lot of health. With the mitigate wounds you can tank a lot of damage with it. I don't have an exact order in which I buy my items. I like to go for a Jotun's Wrath as second item usually, if the enemy team allows me to do so, but they have a lot of damage on their team. Even their support can do a lot of damage, the buckets, so I went for some defense first. After the Jotuns, I usually get either the Mill of Renewal I have, or the Hardword Amulet, because of the mana issues I was talking about. He has a low mana pool, his abilities use a lot of mana, and he can use them all quite often. As you can see here, I try to fight Sol, not fighting too smart, but with mitigate wounds it doesn't really matter too much. As you can see, I'm now getting Frostbound. Frostbound is very good for at least trying to peel somehow, because people don't want to focus Hercules. If you don't have any healing reduction, Hercules is extremely hard to kill because of his mitigate wounds and his high mana pool if you build him that way. So with the Frostbound I can still, even while it provides me a good amount of health, it will also provide me a slow I can use on my enemies, preventing them from running away as fast or getting away at all. As you can see here, Sol's slowed and pretty much screwed at that point. It also provides some physical power, which is always nice if you have a lot of damaging abilities. Like my 1, my 2 and my ultimate are all damaging abilities. Here you can see I try to get close. I can actually fight the Scylla, but with all her teammates close, I'm not really want to do that. As you can see here, I play very aggressive, being in their team a lot, but I also back off if I am noticing my team isn't close by enough. So then I'll just run away for a bit. If my team is close by again, I'll fight with them. Sometimes I stay too long, as you saw there, I stay too long. If you have like 500 or less than 1000 health and you activate your mitigate wounds, it won't do a lot for you. You probably even get bursted before those 4 seconds from the initial mitigate wounds will actually finish. As you can see now, I'm getting a last item. I'm going for a Midgardian Mail. The reason behind this is because they have 2 physicals, Boombat and Shibalanke, who both do rely on a good amount of auto attacks, and Sol is also an auto attacking mage. As you saw in that clip, like I pulled the enemy Sol, and I pushed Sol with the Shibalanke towards my enemy. So if you're lucky, you can actually pull multiple people, even with your 2. And you can push multiple people with your 1. So if you're really lucky, you can hit a 5-man pull. Will never happen, but it could. Because I think the area is large enough for you to pull 5 persons. I'm not sure. Actually never tested it. Would be a nice thing to do. As you can see here, another pull, and my team is able to pin him down. We do have a lot of gods that can actually pin the enemy down. We have a Scylla with her root and cripple. We have a Mercury with his delivery, he being able to pin them down for a certain amount of time. We also have a Shanga who use her ultimate sometimes. So we do, and we have quite some bursts to actually burst them down. And again, another one. I didn't even use my 2. He wanted to fight me and I was close to him. And because of my heavy hammer, I can just walk around him quite easily and push him with my 1. And a nice ultimate from our Mercury, we were able to pick up Scylla as well. As you can see here, Sol used her escape, and at this point she's in really big problems because we are together. And now she also has used her ultimate. As you can see, we came back from the game. I've been a lot more tanky. I wasn't as tanky at the early stages of the game. That's also why I am getting additional physical item. It will help me against 3 of the enemies effectively, because Sol does auto attacks. If she uses her 2, it can actually also proc the Midgardian Mill, which provides a slow on auto attacks, which is really nice. Warriors, though, in general are quite interesting, because I always adapt my builds on the enemy. There are a few warriors I like to build the same way all the time, but usually, especially if you're a frontline heavy frontline guard, you really want to counter build to the enemy. And as you saw there, I pulled the Sol, was able to stun them and finish her off just before I was going to die, and that gave us the victory. But well, I did finish my build, so that's always nice to have going. It was a pretty good game. I got a lot of pulls, so that's always helpful. And I also did a pretty decent amount of damage, especially if you look at my build. I don't really have a lot of damage oriented items, but I still did a lot of damage. And because the Winger Blade also provides 10% cooldown reduction, I did still have a total of 25% cooldown reduction, which is nice. You can actually use that a lot on Hercules because he's so much ability based. It's just nice to have. You also saw I didn't really care about actives. I only got active when my build was finished. I don't recommend it because you can actually help out your team a lot by getting a good active for your team if you don't need it yourself. If you have a lot of CCs, for instance, in areas, you might want to get beads just to don't get pulled every single time. But you could also counter ult, of course, or bait them by activating your mitigate wounds, getting a lot of damage on yourself and healing it up very fast. If you have a lot of health, it can actually heal you up for so much every half a second. So I went over my build. Physical power boots, warrior tabi as always. It's my starter. You just need movement speed to properly perform your 2-1 combo, which is basically what Hercules is about. He also has a good ultimate and a good way to stay alive with mitigate wounds, but his main help he can provide to his team is with his 2-1 combo, getting out, picking one enemy off, and picking up one enemy and getting them killed. But he is good. It's easy to counter him with beads, of course, especially if your team doesn't have any CCs whatsoever. They'll just get beads for you and you won't be able to pull anyone as fast. Well, I do have a lot of health with this build, almost 4k probably, because every single item except my boots provides a decent or very good amount of health. It makes me very tanky. Like I said, it makes my 3 very effective. I do find it difficult to explain how I built my warriors, but I'll just try to do that as quickly. I went for the Mill of Renewal because I felt like I wasn't tanky enough. I also wanted some CDR, and if we kill an enemy I get healed, so that's really good. Then I went for an Hardword because it provides magical protection, which I didn't have, because Mill of Renewal only provides physical defense. So with the Mill of Renewal, with the Hardword Amulet, I will get the aura for physical defense for me and my team, the mana regen, and some health and magical protection for myself. So I'm pretty much have the same amount of magical as physical protection, which is nice. Then I went for additional health on the Winger Blade. Very cheap item, makes me a lot faster, and if I was in any issues I could run away if I got slowed. So I get slowed, I'm immune for slow, and I can walk faster actually. Then I went for Frostbound to just try to peel for my team a bit more, slowing the enemies so we can finish them off or they can't chase my teammates. Then I felt like I was getting focused a bit too much by their auto attack based guards, Humbas with a crit passive, Xbalanque because he's a hunter, and Sol because she's an auto attack based mage. So the Midgardian would help out a lot with the chance on slowing the enemy when they hit me with an auto. Then I went for an heavily agility just so we could at the end rush our enemies with a nice team sprint to actually engage on them. And we did end up killing one of the enemies because of it, because we could actually steamroll him. I hope you guys learned something. If you have any suggestions on how I should do this, or if you have a suggestion on what warrior to play next, please leave them in the comments. And as always, good luck, have fun, and I'll see you guys in the next one.